Hello and welcome to Tang Fong Sino Group Belt and Road Research Institute. Today we had an interesting discussion which was watched by hundreds of viewers across the globe online. The topic of the conference was to evaluate the situation, the regional situation in South Asia, including Pakistan, Afghanistan, Central Asia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Iran. To attend this conference, we have our distinguished guest, a former Pakistani senator, researcher, writer, political activist, political leader, a senior parliamentarian, Mr. Afrasiab Khattak. He came here to Hong Kong to attend this conference. We will talk about this conference in general, but also on different questions they were raised in the gathering, and even some of our online who attended the session. So welcome, sir. Welcome to Hong Kong, Chuhai College, and Tan Phong Sino Group Belt and Road Research Institute. It was nice to have you on this important event for which you came straight from Pakistan to attend this event. So tell us, right now we have in Pakistan the CPEC project, and likewise China is emerging as a positive and a power which tried to connect underdeveloped countries in the sense of for the future of the global South. But in the seminar, and we already discussed this, there are threats to those design, to the Chinese design. Like on one hand, China and regional countries are trying to stabilize the region and to connect the regional countries among each other, and particularly the philosophy of bridges, not blocks. But here we are seeing troubles in terrorism, extremism, and separatism. How you look at the region right now?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. It was a great pleasure, and it was an excellently arranged seminar. I enjoyed every moment of it. Actually, the conflict that you are referring to is basically quite an old conflict. It is called the Great Game. It was the British Empire which first captured India and then tried to penetrate the Central Asian region. And for that, they entered Afghanistan. It was in 19th century that they tried to capture parts of Afghanistan, and by military occupying them, merged those areas in India, British India. So then they sort of entered into a competition with Tsarist Russia, which was already in Central Asia. So this became the so-called Great Game. Actually, not so great game, but there was a conflict of the empires. Of course, sometimes they would enter agreements about their spheres of influence, but then they would again try to hegemonize each other. So it went on. In 20th century, we saw the war in Afghanistan when Russian troops occupied Afghanistan. And later on, the Western countries based themselves in Pakistan and fought this war. It became a big war. So there was a lot of investment in nurturing extremism, religious extremism. So they invested in religious seminaries that brought extremist ideologies from the Middle East. Actually, Islam is quite old in this region, but it was a very tolerant type of Islam. And actually, it went to the entire South Asia from this area. But these new ideologies, extremist ideologies that penetrated this area in 1980s were the product of this Anglo-Saxon empire or alliance of states who actually had started this war, this conflict earlier. So they sort of wanted to destabilize this region, and they succeeded in defeating Soviet Union out of Afghanistan. and they also were able to have more influence in this region.
I'm sorry, I have a very important question. You've
Please.
been there when the Swedes were there, their troops were there, and the government, the Afghan government was there. Despite of so many development things like dam building, roads, the Bagram base, and security infrastructure, what was the only thing that Russian undermined or Russian couldn't understand, or one fatal mistake that the Russian did in Afghanistan?
You see, uh, according to my understanding, I was there in 1980s. I went to Afghanistan in August 1980, and I came back to Pakistan in January 89. So it was almost 8.5 years. So I watched very closely what they were doing there. You see, first of all, Afghanistan was a traditional society, and it had not seen industrial revolution. There were pockets of industry, but not industrial revolution. So they failed. Russians failed to understand the sensitivities of Afghan nationalism. You see, President Daoud Khan was an Afghan nationalist. They sort of had expectations from him, from his government, the type of expectation that they had from East Europe, that were socialist countries. Afghanistan was not a socialist country, but they thought this is how the meeting between Brezhnev and Daoud Khan sort of went very bad when Brezhnev asked him.
Ended bitterly.
Yes, he ended bitterly when Brezhnev told him that you have brought these NATO spies in Afghanistan and you have deployed them in northern Afghanistan, and they are just busy in espionage against the Soviet Union, and they should not be there. I mean, Daoud Khan told him that Afghanistan is a free, independent country. It may have to live poor if the need be, but it will remain independent. And we reject your ideas about employment and deployment. It's Afghanistan's right. Nobody can dictate. And he walked out of the meeting.
And that was the point where
Exactly.
the Russians started mistake by mistake,
Yes.
giving birth to another
Yes.
mistake. To me, and you have also seen the U.S. presence in Afghanistan and its impact on the regional countries. What was their mistake, or rather, you think that they haven't, there was not any mistake on the part of American, but it was a design. Like they are not defeated, but rather they are successful in what their designs were for this region.
You see, Americans, now we have almost everything that was secret at that time was now declassified. So we have seen Brzezinski's Afghan trap, Afghanistan. They used Afghanistan as a trap to take revenge from their defeat in Vietnam. So they wanted to Vietnamize Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And for that, this was the biggest U.S. secret operation in Asia, unannounced war. These Afghan refugees who were invited into Pakistan and they were welcomed, and they were brainwashed in these religious seminaries with these extremist ideologies, brainwashed and militarily trained.
Yeah.
This is how refugees are, in our languages, Mahajir, were turned into Mujahid, Mujahideen, the holy warriors. So quite a large number of people were trained. And you see, they perfected the art of the war of attrition in Afghanistan. And gradually the Soviet Union got exhausted and sort of collapsed. So
was the same happened to Americans, or no? They were fine and they needed this chaos.
Americans actually invested in this war in 1980s to create their presence here, or their influence here. So when U.S. faced terrorism, of course that was very bad, but to occupy Afghanistan was not really
was not the solution.
not a solution. But you see, now they have sort of an entitlement about Afghanistan. President Trump says that we have developed Bagram Airport, military base, so we have every right to go back there.
Yeah.
Ownership, like the owners of Afghanistan.
But you think that right now we have a CPEC, like huge billions of dollar project, and like the Belt and Road Initiative for other Central Asian countries up to Europe. Do you think that what happened in the last 20 years, it's now emerging as a bigger threat to China rather than to America or Europe? Do you agree?
I agree. Actually, the developments in Afghanistan in recent years are not accidental. It's not a coincidence. It's basically a new phase of the great game. It's about Central Asia. They want to destabilize Central Asia because you see, Russia is a military power, great military power, but it is not a very strong economy. China has replaced Russia in terms of being the biggest trade partner of Central Asian republics. So the West doesn't like it. So they would like to destabilize Central Asia to block the road for Chinese BRI,
Belt and Road Initiative.
yeah, Belt and Road Initiative vision. They would like to block it. And for that, they want, you see, they brought this engineered state collapse in Afghanistan. You see, by signing deal with Taliban, who originally they had described them as terrorists,
Yeah.
but the same terrorist group was brought back.
Like that happened in Syria.
Yeah, and that happened in Syria also. So the people who actually had, there was had money against them by the United States, they were brought to power.
Yeah. Sir, the final question. If I am a Chinese investor and an engineer or businessman, and I have spent like millions or billions of dollars right now under the Taliban nose in Afghanistan, do you think my money or my investment is secure under the Taliban, or you see another chaos emerging in Afghanistan, which will obviously affect my interests?
You see, the so-called great game will need great effort to be countered, to be checked. And for that, I think this Shanghai Cooperation Organization is the real platform. China is a positive force in the New World, particularly for countries of the global South. And you see, the development of multilateralism in international politics, international order, is a very good omen. And China is leading this effort. So it will be great for China to sort of bring these countries of the region. China can also make some effort for peace between India and Pakistan, Pakistan and Afghanistan, and also sort of not allowing these big powers to come from other continents and create chaos here. So it will need a collective effort. Based on not only based in an economy, politics, culture, and all fields. It will need cooperation and joint work.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It was nice meeting you.
Welcome.
Dear viewers, I hope that you will enjoy this brief chat, and wish you all the best of luck, and goodbye.